Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we're on Breakup Podcast number 19, Real Breakup Stories Unpacked by Mac. I'm flying solo today, but there's a lot of news out there, so I'm sure that you'll be active on your YouTube channels. So I thought I'd touch base and drop 3 stories, fully unpack them. Hope everyone's doing well out there. If you like this video, throw a like. If you don't like it, don't like it. It's better to have an opinion. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the red button. It always bugs me to say that all the time. You're told to say that to remind people, but you should subscribe if you want to subscribe or not subscribe. But we're going to get into some interesting breakup stories. If you have a breakup story you want to share, send it into writemac.com, WRITEMAC, and I could give you my take in a live stream just like this, or possibly if you want to do a live coaching session, that's also available at writemac.com. You want to talk for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I've talked to people for 4 hours about their breakups. Highly therapeutic for them. Okay, so let's see if we can get into the stories. Catherine, how you doing? Let's pull this up. Let's pull this up. Always fun. Yeah, got it. Got it? Okay. LC, hello from Cali. I believe you're in Dago too. Dago. LC, I hope you're doing well. Keep the shades on. Your future is bright. Okay, so I feel like the mic's really loud today. Hey, Coach, I've got my story ready for days now. Just haven't sent it. I broke up with my ex-boyfriend 7 months ago. We were together for over 8 years, and now it's finally starting to hit me that we aren't getting back together. I think this happens a lot, that sometimes it's a little late that you actually deal with the breakup. We were in light contact over these, I assume months. She didn't write months. And even had some romantic encounters, but as you say on your live streams, it's curtains. I do say curtains. I just realized that today when I saw him to pick up some of my mail, so she's saying that she just realized today that it's over. And now I just feel like icky and sad. Well, you can always, people give out vibrations and frequencies, and just like when you see a dog in an alley and the hair goes up on your back, feeling icky and sad might be you realizing that it is really over, that, in other words, he's neutralized. He's not in a receptive place where he wants to get back with you, and you probably picked up on that. It's like we've been broken up, but not completely, and now it feels like the game is over. It's kind of funny for you to put it that way, as if it's a game still. Because I suppose the Way of the Superior Mind by David Deida says relationships are a dance. And the more I think about it, it's true. It's like this 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, this back and forth. But when it's really over, sometimes it's not during the breakup. Sometimes you're still dancing when you're in the middle of the breakup. I call it the gray area. And you have some good, like she writes, we had some good romantic encounters. We were in contact. But then at some point, someone goes, you know what, I'm done. And you can feel it. And one person does it first. It's rarely each person at the same time. That's movie stuff. The other part of this is when someone moves away to another place, it usually cements the fact that you're done, because you're not going to be in each other's sphere of influence. So she writes, and I'm alone, more alone than when we first broke up. Yeah, because right now before you felt like, we might get back together, we still talk. The way it went down is that he sat down and told me some issues he had with me complaining about politics too much. Wow, that's timely. He went on and on about that life is bigger than politics. We hear enough about this in the news. He even asked if we get rid of the TV. Not a bad idea, actually. I know couples that do that, and I've thought about getting rid of my TV before. He said he was burnt out on hearing about it all the time. I had a fit and told him it was one of the most important times in human history. So this is one of those cases, no one's wrong. It's just your opinion. And the opinions are so far apart that it's a problem because you live together. He called me a spectator and a critic. I walked out at that point, and upon leaving, I think a lot of people are spectators and critics and don't really do a lot to make the world a better place. This is a big problem right now. I walked out at that point, and upon leaving, realized that we don't line up. This is important to me and not him. Well, there's your reason for breaking up. There's your reason for maybe not getting back together. And, you know, friends, families, colleagues, I suppose, we have to look at things that friends and colleagues, maybe you don't go into politics or religion. That's kind of a rule. When it's your partner, when it's someone you live with, it's absolutely going to be something that comes up. It's part of your values. And if that doesn't line up, it's going to be a big, big, big problem. You don't have to agree 100%, but to be in completely opposite directions, no bueno. That's not going to work. I moved out that week. I walked out at that point. Upon leaving, realized that we don't line up. This is important to me, not him. I moved out that week, but as I said, we stayed in contact. But right now, with the race so tight, I've been strongly addicted to the TV and what's going on. He called me and made some comment about my candidate losing, and I just lost it again. The reason I'm writing this is because I feel like now that I know we aren't getting back together, it's real like never before, and I just feel like this sort of mourning of a loss, it's different than before. Yeah, it's different because you don't have that little inkling of, oh, we might get back together. Have you come across this before? I've come across it in my own life, where, like I said, when you break up and you break up on okay terms, not perfect terms, you break up on the idea that we can still talk, we can still interact. We might even have some dates. We might do this. You're still actually engaged with that person. You haven't fully broken up yet. And I've been in those situations before. And it is a real feeling that now that you're feeling this and you're aware of it and you're mindful of it, you are at a point now where you're like, okay, we're done. And this is a part where it's going to hurt. Because this is where the memories come up. This is where the loss comes up. This is where you're like, we no longer call each other for good or bad times because you're not getting back together. I found myself just stuck on missing him for hours yesterday. Then I got to my senses and get back to work. How long will this last? There's no telling how long it'll last, but it's better to start it than to put it off. So right now, this is actually you realizing that it's quote unquote curtains, as I like to say, is actually a positive thing. It's actually a good thing because progress has been made here. You were basically in a space during this, I believe it was, let me see here, 7 months. 7 months you've been broken up, you've saw each other, but you really haven't done anything to get back together. So why not start fresh? This is actually a good thing for you. All right, we got 6 on deck. La Liz, good morning. Real with Ida, you got a YouTube channel, I believe. Good for you. I've seen it. I hope you're doing well, hon. I was even going to consider maybe contacting you. I think you got a really cool channel. It's obviously new, but is it Real with Ida? Not Ada, Ida, I believe it is. Is it centered around losing weight? Is that what you'd say, or is it a little bit deeper than that? Because I went to your channel, I checked it out after you made a comment on mine, or a couple. Yes, both ways are correct. I think that's really cool. You set up your videos nice and informative. It seems like you're doing intermittent fasting. Okay. Intermittent fasting. What do you think about intermittent fasting? Is it the thing for me is I've never done it before because I've never wanted to lose weight. I'm already pretty slender, so I don't want to lose more weight. Even when I used to do yoga or hot yoga, I still do yoga. If I do it too often, I get really too slim. But intermittent fasting, what interests me about that is it's a little deeper than just losing weight, if I'm correct. It's really good for your whole system, for your health overall, and also for keeping up your mental awareness. Have you found that at all beyond just losing weight from it? Just out of curiosity. And if I may ask, what sparked you to start your channel and lose weight? I was just curious. I'm going to get back to the stories. Coach Mac, I've been watching your channel on and off for years now. I like your approach and the fact that you're not so serious. Well, thank you. Other people have told me that before. I'll take that as a compliment. You're down to earth. One of the greatest compliments you can get is you're down to earth. I appreciate that. I broke up with my ex 2 years ago, and I'm doing just fine. So why are you writing me? Alive and well. Now just this week, she called me out of nowhere and let me know she's moving back to my city where we lived together. Okay. She got a job, a good job with some security to it. Good. She wants to grab dinner and catch up soon. I'm not sure if I should go or not. So what's holding you back? If it's been 2 years, then the issue is what? We broke up over a variety of things. Number one being that she thought we were getting bored with each other, and she was considering taking a job out of state. Okay, which in turn, I was ready to move, only not to be invited at the last minute. I've come across this before, that someone has a move to make due to work, and that's a turning point in the relationship because someone goes, you know what, I don't know if I want you to come with me. Ouch. I was crushed, but over time and no contact, I thought it was true. We were a boring couple. You know, one of the thing is, if someone says you guys are boring as a couple, it would be nice if you got more specific, right? I think that's such a cop-out and a blanket statement, but I've improved my life since her, but I haven't been in a committed relationship since her. I'm comfortable being single, but I won't lie, my mind started running soon after we talked about the good old days where we'd roll around in the grass of a summer concert. Okay. We were so naughty in the beginning. I want a piece of that back. Do you think I should meet her for dinner? I think you should meet her for dinner. I don't see a problem here. If your problem when you broke up was that you guys were boring, that's actually something that could be different 2 years down the road. That could be something completely different down the road, and you should explore it right now. If you're not seeing someone else, it's not like you hated each other. She took a new job. She called you, so she's interested. And if you do, 2 years is a nice break because you're a different person now. She's probably a different person now. The idea that you're meeting for dinner for the first time in 2 years is exciting, not boring. So what do you have to lose would be the question. And I might add that if intimacy is something that you're looking forward to based on what you had before, I would say that if she contacted you for dinner, that it's a high possibility. So why not go on a discovery mission and go out with her? Not eating as often is easier to control calorie take. Okay. I love your videos, by the way. Very informative. You talked about scarcity. Mind blown. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think that's one of the more popular videos. I've done more live streams now. I'm gonna be approaching different people that have YouTube channels and different stuff in the future to interview them about their lives, almost like we interview famous people all the time, except I'm going to call it the human report. Well, we just talk to regular people. Well, maybe you're not regular. Maybe we all are different and special in our own ways, I suppose. But if you're interested, I would send you a set of questions, and maybe we'll do an interview. Maybe it'll help out your channel. Are you interested in that, Ida? Please tell me if I'm saying their name wrong. Okay, next story. Coach, I'm 25 and my ex is 31. We broke up 2 weeks ago, and we were together for 1 year and a couple months. Thank you for that background. I want him back. He wants me back, I think. I think means I hope that's true. There's a possibility if you were together for a long time and you had a good relationship that they want you back. But we are both stubborn and both, I think, want to be chased. Again, I think means I don't know. But it usually means this is what I want to believe. So just keep that in mind. That's not necessarily the truth. I'm not giving in at this point, and either is he. Well, two stubborn people are hard to get back with each other. We've texted twice. Both times it was all about me getting my stuff. That's it. I sent one smiley emoji, and he didn't respond at all. We basically broke up because his brother and 2 sisters were staying with us as they all are out of work. Well, this is a time in the world. I don't know where you're at in the world because they didn't write it, but the economy's tough in a lot of places. There's a lot of certain industries that are tough. So this isn't just one of those things where they're being lazy. I think it's timing. Yes, all of them. He supports them all, and I feel like we are almost all in competition for his attention. Everyone seems to go to him for money. Well, if everyone's out of work and they're living there, I could see that happening. So certainly an adjustment. I have a job, but I still liked him to take me out and buy me things. We used to go shopping together and have expensive dinners. That stopped since the siblings moved in. Well, I mean, the priorities of taking care of your siblings when they're out of work are going to, you're going to have to sacrifice. He said he's got to watch his money more closer because he's got mouths to feed, not just mine. This is one of those things, it's not his fault. And I think it's more difficult that it's just not one brother or 2 sisters. And the reality is, do you all get along? Because their problems become your problems. Your roommates' problems become your problems. Your partner's problems become your problems. Your friends that you're very close to's problems become your problems. And someone say, oh, you don't have to do that. If you interact with people regularly, that's how it is. And so if all these people are out of work, they're all stressed out, it's going to create turmoil in the house. And that's either something you put your head down and deal with, and hopefully there's a finish line where they move out or your ex sees that. But as of right now, you're going to have to deal with it or say, I'm not going to deal with it. We fought a lot about them. He finally told me he'll never turn his back on his family, nor will he be forced to choose. I could leave any time I wanted to, so I did. Well, that right there, that's not just an ultimatum. That's a declaration statement where he's basically saying that I'm not going to turn my back on my family. He's not going to change that statement for anything. And it's actually an admirable thing. There's not a lot of people that would go, oh, what an asshole. He's taking his siblings that are out of work over you. You're not. So if you go to friends and family with this, he's not going to throw out his siblings. This is a tough time. It's timing and circumstances. This is what makes couples stronger or weaker. And then the idea that, you're kind of waiting on him to chase you. I don't think he's going to chase you in this moment because he's stated you're very what's good about your situation, maybe it's not good to you. You're very clear on the problem. The problem is crystal clear. A lot of times, sometimes, I just need closure. I don't know why they left. I don't know what I did wrong. ... No, this is very clear. He's got siblings that live with him. They're out of work. He has to take care of them. He's making some sacrifices, and there's no negotiating this at this point. And so I don't think you're going to play this game where who's stubborn, who's going to chase who. I don't think he's going to chase you, because beyond the interesting part about this situation, beyond you leaving, he's occupied with people that love him. And he's got a responsibility and a purpose outside of you right now. Now, you might not like that, being that you broke up, but it's real, right? What's up, David Jeffers? I'm good, buddy. It's real. And so you can respect that or let it go. But I don't find his actions to be bad. I find them admirable. I mean, someone that puts their family first. Now, if you told me that one of the siblings was on drugs or was a thief or a bad person in humanity and doing this and that. If you tell me they just lost their job and they're trying to get their lives back together, what's he going to do as the older brother that makes the money? I mean, by the way, if you were to get your way and he kicked out his siblings, he'd be a wreck because he'd be struggling with doing something that went against his grain. And I'd like to see him care about me more. I want to be number one again. I don't think you're going to be. I think even if he has you as number one, you're never going to be number one all the time, because it's not going to be the same as when you first met and you didn't have these siblings in the house. Is that too much to ask? It sounds like it's too much to ask at this point with him. Part of being a couple, part of being in a long-term relationship means that you are understanding. Seek to understand, not to be understood. And like I said, do you have 3 siblings that are out of work? This is what we all don't do, myself included sometimes. And I have to, when you look at other people and the way they're acting, if you really look at the way they look at the world, are you really putting yourself in their shoes? I mean, if I was in this guy's shoes, I don't have 3 siblings. But my sister, who passed away a couple years ago, if she needed help or something like that, in a second. If my niece and nephew needed help, they're in their early 20s, and they needed to move in and they're out of work, I'd move them in a second. And if my partner had a problem where they weren't getting enough attention or this or that, I'd say, you know what? No, I'm not going to have to choose. And I'd probably just tell you the same thing. So I've always been a good girlfriend. He's even said that. I don't think this is about you being a good girlfriend or not. I think it's about you realizing that you're going to have to give in a little bit here if you want to stick with this guy, because he told you point blank, his family comes first. It's all about family. Why is it F you let up? I don't know. Fueled let up? I don't know what you meant here. Why is it fucked up? Is that what you mean to say? I don't know. I'm confused, LC. Well, I mean, the thing about families, every family's different, and everyone's going to associate the importance of family differently. And what's really interesting about this, if I was in a live coaching session with this last story, I'd ask her, what's your relationship to your family? Now, a lot of times someone will say, oh, I don't get along with my siblings. Oh, I don't get along with my mom. That's why you can't relate, because you're like, I would never do that for them. Or I was an only child. It's like if you talk to someone that's an only child compared to someone that was raised with 3 siblings, so 4 total, different ball game. You'll never understand that. You'll never know. And so what you're doing is you're assuming that, why don't they see the world the way I do? Because they didn't have your life experience, dude. Period. Right? They don't have your life experience. It's not going to work. And this is where understanding that we're all different because of our life experiences and the way we were raised. And by the way, if that's a deal breaker, someone taking on their siblings and supporting them, he just told you it's not going to be negotiable. I find that admirable. I find that him putting a line in the sand about something. Here's the thing, too. This is the way I look at it. A decision like that, when he's on his deathbed, hopefully a long time from now, and you're going through, there's a really good question to ask, and I've read this in a couple self-improvement books. I don't even know what the book was named. But the guy said, really interesting question to ask yourself over time and repeatedly is, what if you had 10 days to live? It's like, wow, now that's interesting. And the guy said he would use it at a cocktail party or holiday parties. Instead of going into small talk, he's like, let's just cut the small talk. What would you do if you had 10 days to live? Now, another part of that is, what would you be thinking about? Because I think that when you have 10 days to live, and I've never been there, thankfully, I don't think that you're thinking about all the things you want. I think you're probably thinking about the things you did. And if I had to guess, an individual that broke up with a girlfriend who wanted to be number one over, I don't know, kicking out 3 siblings when they were out of work, I would say if I had 10 days to go, I would go with, yeah, I made the right choice. I took care of my siblings. I took care of my brother and my 2 sisters when they were down and out. I feel good about that. No regrets, right? And that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. He's not going to regret putting his siblings first because it's important to him. But that's situational, no? Helping the siblings is not forever thing. It's not. But she's saying that she wants changes now, it sounds like. She's being difficult about it. He's saying that it's definitely situational. And like I said, I would need to know more if we were in a live coaching session. I'd obviously ask way more questions and then go into different directions. Like I said, if the siblings are, drug addicts or thieves, or she didn't say any of that. So I'm just going on the fact that they're just out of work. That's a whole nother case. I've had people send me breakup stories where a family member lives with them that's an addict of some sort, and it just wreaks havoc, because that's a toxic individual anyways. And the interesting thing, helping the siblings is not a forever thing. You know what? What is forever, but if someone's unhappy with it now and doesn't see any finish line, do you know what I mean? They don't see, like in other words, they're all out of work right now. I don't see them getting a job anytime soon. Here's the danger on the flip side of this. The longer they're out of work and they're able to get supported, that becomes their job. So I would say at some point the brother needs to support them in finding a new job, career, or way of making money, because otherwise you create a situation where they become professional siblings. Yeah, like I said, I would imagine just enough till they're back on their feet. Like I said, he would have to address that situation. If she told me they've been living in the house for 4 years doing nothing, then that's different. So there's a situation, he wouldn't mind me mentioning this, but I've shared it as a breakup story on the channel when he wrote in, and he's done some live coaching with me. This is an interesting story. So when people go, oh, I bet you haven't heard this. I don't know if anyone's heard this one, unless you've seen it on the videos before on the channel. This guy was with his girlfriend. They're in their 50s, actually. He's in his 50s. I'm pretty sure his girlfriend is. And so they're together for 5 years. I believe he's 55. I believe she's a similar age. And they've been together 5 years. He said they have a great relationship. Their intimacy is outstanding. They love each other. And this guy's very gregarious, outgoing, really down to earth, cool dude. And so about the third year of being together, her ex-husband got in a hunting accident, and basically, I don't think he lost his leg. He had to get it reattached in some way, if I'm getting that correct. But it was a serious accident, right, with a serious amount of recovery due, and he didn't have the resources to take care of himself. So she moved him in, being that he was the father of her children and an ex-husband of years. I found that extremely admirable, because I was like, that's a tough situation. That's and she felt like, oh, I'm going to take care of him. I'm going to help him out. The problem was, and the guy that I'm helping in the coaching, he was okay with it. He was like, I understand, this is a tough situation. She didn't have any interest in getting back with him. She just wanted to help take care of him. She felt bad. He nearly lost his leg. It was a serious injury. He got shot. Hunting, I believe it was. And so she moves him in, and it ends up being 2 years. Now it's a problem, because the guy's recovered. He's still having trouble getting around, but he's dug in now, because she's been making his meals. He doesn't pay rent, da-di-da-di-da. And it's starting to affect their relationship, because she's got to take care of this guy. And what happened is the guy got really comfortable. Why would he leave? Right? And he probably still has feelings. So that situation that should have been temporary has turned into a situation where she's struggling to kick him out in his 50s, thinking like, what does he have to do? Where does he have to go? And they continued their relationship while he was living at the house, the ex-husband, in his recovery. But now it's gotten to a point where it's stressful on her, it's stressful on him, so they broke up. And during this time that they broke up, Chris Boutron, definitely write your story in, my friend. So the situation, they broke up, and she kept calling him up. I need more time to make a decision. I need more time to make a decision. Da, da, da. And she started blaming him for things. And what she was doing is trying to make him a bad guy to give her a reason to break up with him. He did nothing wrong. They had a great relationship. The problem was she still lived with her ex-husband, whom she was taking care of, right? And she was conflicted because here she is doing a good thing for her ex-husband that has nowhere to go, but at the same time, it's completely neglecting her relationship with the man she's been with for 5 years. It's tough. It's really tough. And so I believe that he did the right thing because he called me up. We did some live coaching together, and he was letting her push him around, complain. And the problem was like how much longer are you going to have your girlfriend live with her ex-husband, take care of him, and now the guy's capable of possibly moving out? This is a danger. People need to, there's a time limit on that kind of stuff, and she knew it. She just didn't have the heart to kick him out. And that saga is still going on right now. I would imagine just enough time they're back on their feet. No, yeah, I mean, what's back on their feet, though, right? But again, she should understand that the circumstance, realities, times are tough. They are tough, and the partner you choose or the partner you're with, you take on their problems, like I said. And I would add, I mean, I never did this when I was young. I don't think a lot of people do it, and some people might find it a little shallow. But I would take a hard look when you're in a long-term relationship, and you're like, oh, I've heard that before, but have you really thought about it? Because I know I didn't, about what kind of relationship the individual you're with has with their family. It's a big deal. Like a lot of times you say, oh, the woman ends up like her mother. That's not always true, especially if they're distant now or they haven't lived in the same state for 20 years, blah-de-da-de-da. That's not always true. Sometimes people despise their parents, but it's a really good judge of what you might have to deal with later on. Think about, do you understand what I mean? If you get into a relationship and, for example, the woman you're dating, parents have money problems. They're in debt. They need to borrow money from the person you're with. In the beginning, if intimacy's good, relationship's good, you kind of just put that to the side and say, oh, that sucks, You kind of like, oh, that's really tough that I'm, like about your parents. And you might even be compassionate, and you might be there for them and think about it. But let's just say you end up in a serious relationship. Things go really well, and 2 years down the road, you're going to be the one helping the parents out with their finances, which might be your pleasure. But that responsibility is going to partially become yours. That's going to, you know what I mean? I don't think we all look at that, myself included. Agreed. I think CW's Corey Wayne says that you should be one of the first things you find out is when dating a person, their parents' behavior. It's so true. It's so true. It really is. And the amount of people, I mean, I look back at my own relationships and the amount of people that had parents that have been divorced, it hurt them. It affected things, for sure. Because they're always looking for the places where their parents went wrong. And if anything even smells or looks like that, they run for the hills or they accuse you of something. And you're like, wait, where's this coming from? It's actually coming from an experience that they had in watching their parents. Or, their aunt and uncle or their grandparents, whoever raised them, where they were around a lot. It really is common. Well, I'll open it up right now for questions. If you have a question, Chris Boutron, if you did want to send in your story, you can send in your breakup story as a private video response if you don't want to share it on YouTube. That's up to you, bud. If they get married, they are marrying the family also. Yeah, but I would add, let's just put marriage to the side. Even if you're in a long-term relationship of 2, 3, 4 years, because I hear this a lot. A lot of people go, I'm not going to get married. It's just a piece of paper. It's just bullshit. Da da da. There's a lot of people with that idea. You living with someone for 4, 5, 6 years is fucking damn similar to being married, isn't it? I think that in the past, like our grandparents, they would just get married because that's what you're supposed to do, because maybe that's what your religion says, that's what society says. I think it's much different now. People push back on marriage for a lot of different reasons. But it's what's the difference when you live together, share bills together? You know, a lot of boyfriend and girlfriends do that, or partners. I think if you're together 2 years plus, even if you're not married, those problems it's going to be the same kind of thing. And I haven't dealt with intrusive in-law type parents. And when I say in-laws, I haven't been married. I'm saying that, you know, being with a girlfriend for a long period of time, only once. And I'll tell you what, the woman had good intentions, but it was like, wow, if this is a sneak peek of what to come. I felt like, you know, some of the things they were caring, but it was pushy, and it was telling me what I had to do and what I was supposed to do. And I was like, I didn't grow up with that way, and my mother doesn't talk to me like that now. So I didn't get an attitude, but I remember telling my girlfriend that I'd been with for over a year, I said, look, if we ever stay together long term, your mother is never living with us. Because I could see it coming. And looking back, maybe that was one of the reasons it was easier to let go of that relationship, because I smelled that for a while. I was like, wow, this is a different situation. Ida, what sparked you to start your channel and go on this mission, if I may ask? Do we still got Skinner on? We got David Jeffers on. David, how's your new job, buddy? Are you okay? I'm going to be short today. This is a nice little new time zone for some people that usually don't catch me. Rob, how you doing, bud? We've just done 37 minutes. I'm just trying out a new time frame. Give some other people an opportunity to maybe chime in on the live stream. Wasn't expecting to stream this early, so didn't check. Yeah, I don't know why you don't get a notification. It just baffles me. Things are great? Good, bud. Good. You're a good person. You deserve it, I suppose. Are you possibly going? No, I won't be going on in a few hours as well, no. I know that's your late night thing. It's great, thanks. Just want to be starting my career already. Are you still teaching, David? My midnight element. God, aren't we all so... Do you ever think about... You do meet some people in your life that are quite similar, but people are so different in different ways. I mean, I have a passion for helping women with weight loss and other things I've overcome. Good for you, hon. Good for you. I think it's so important. Ida, where are you at in the world, if I may ask? If that's not too personal. God, weight loss, because I don't live in America. I don't know if you knew that, Ida. I live in Thailand. I go back. There's a big issue with obesity, man. Big issue. And the thing about being severely... Georgia. Cool. Never been there. Seems like a good state. You know what it seemed like? I've seen your video before. It doesn't seem like you have like a southern accent, though. Huh. What do I know? Yes, but I just set up my written test for a federal job this month. Good for you, David. You're going to get it, bro. Whenever you have a test... Remember when I had to take my real estate exam in California? I've had to take some other tests. The time... Born and raised in New York for 13 years. Okay, that's why. Okay. I was like, there's no accent like a Georgia accent. Before you take that test, David, you just already tell yourself, I've already passed. I know maybe that's like the law of attraction type stuff, but I know in my own heart when I've done that, I'm like, I already passed. I take tests well. I'll pass it. The times that I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard, this is going to be tough, I always failed them. And I wasn't a bad student in school. I'm no genius. I'm no Mensa. I was never a straight A student, but school was never difficult to me. It was putting in the effort that was more difficult to me. I could care less when I was in high school, I think. And I still got C's, I think, but I wasn't driven because it wasn't pushed upon me to do well in school. But when I've taken a test, getting back to that, when I've taken a written test for anything, obviously you prepare, you study. You got to keep telling yourself, I already passed it. I passed it. I'm not going to worry about it. Because that, especially if there's any kind of multiple choice, the amount of people I knew that didn't pass the real estate exam that were very smart people that just got in their own heads, it's very common. Very, very, very common. Yeah, no fingers crossed. You just keep telling yourself, I'm going to pass that test. I already passed it. Like you don't even entertain the idea of not passing the test. You put it in your head like, I passed it. And the minute you get a little negative or you get a little nervous or worried about it, you have to go back to your head, no, I'm passing this test. I take tests well, right? Just like keep redirecting that because that anxiety will hurt you going into the test. I know some, because it's funny because I know someone I've been a teacher at the university level for years here in Thailand. I had a recent student that's graduating. Excellent student. Excellent. I think their GPA was like 3.7 something. And she just had a test that was for a federal job or a state job, if you will. And she didn't pass, and she was shocked. Hardcore studier. Worried. Second-guessing things. And didn't pass and was surprised. And I thought about it. I was like, I wasn't that surprised because there was so much anxiety in it. She overthought it. Do you need a PhD to teach at university in Thailand? Not the one I'm at. I don't know if it applies to everyone that you're at. There's a few designations like a TEFL certificate from different things, experience. Obviously, a bachelor's degree is required for all teaching here. But no, to answer your immediate question, no, a PhD is not required, which is interesting because in junior college, but PhD, a master's is required for the Thai teachers. It depends on what you're teaching and what department you're in and what role you're in. But based on my experience and a couple other certificates I had, I was able to get my job. Thailand. Where were you born? I'm from San Francisco Bay Area. I was born in Redwood City, California, which is very, 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 very expensive now to live in. Not when I grew up there, but it's changed quite a bit when I go back to visit. I once was a TA in university, but that was the extent of my university employment, yeah. I love teaching university. It's great. It's really great. Giving people grades isn't fun. But that's been good. It's been a journey, that's for sure. Yeah, we got 9 on deck, 3 likes. Thanks for the likes, folks. These podcasts, real breakup. No Jess or Talif today. Oh, Aleph actually should be getting here soon. Jessica is only willing to go on once a week. She doesn't want to commit to much more than that. But I might bring her in on the phone as an option. So I'm kind of toying with some different directions here on the future of this show. Maybe I'll ask David and Rob their opinion since you regularly come to my live streams. It's definitely shaping into a little bit different thing. Jessica comes over to your place, or is it on Skype? No, she comes over here. She doesn't live far. She lives about 30 minutes from my house, 25 minutes. So we do it in person. But now we could probably do it where she's at her house. I just don't have all the cameras set up. And Aleph comes every day. But he isn't here yet. It's still a little bit early here. You guys like Aleph, huh? So do you like that element? I have to go. 9 p.m. here. Thanks for your videos. Keep it real. Check out Real with Ida. If you're looking for weight loss or inspiration on being a little bit healthier, she seems like a really cool person. I'll just say you are. I'll just give you the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't know you. Maybe we'll do an interview in the future. If I can reach out through your channel, I will. Here's my... That's my email, Ida. Why don't you send me an email, and maybe we'll set up a Skype interview. You don't have to necessarily be on camera, but we can do something on one of my live streams. I think for schedule, the different formats for different days in the week, it would diversify the content. Got it. Thanks. Right on. Yeah. I want to stick with a few things though here. I want to be more consistent about what we're doing. It's kind of all over the place at this point. Rob, you'd agree. Roller girl, how you doing? Good. Happy to hear you're good. I see what you're saying. Well, it's getting better and better, right, Rob? You've been with me for a while. It's getting better and better and better. Mac, have you ever heard of affair fog? No. What is that, Skinner? Please tell me. Oh, wow. You wrote McCarthy with a small C, too. Good for you. You know what? It's usually about an hour and a half from now. So I don't know what time it is where you're at, Chris Boutron. I'm usually about an hour and a half from now. This is quite early for me usually. But I'm trying different times. I might be more consistent by doing an earlier podcast. And so, yeah, you definitely have done a lot. So have I, Rob, right? And I'm saying the mic's getting better. Having Aleph chime in's nice. We're doing some things here. It's getting exciting. It's getting fun. I'll tell you what I really enjoyed. I think you stayed on it. I did that 5-hour marathon with the callers from India. And now we're having Aleph, who's my editor, video editor, take out the stories from the live streams and make them separate videos like snippets. Affair fog is a term many affair and marriage experts use to describe the state of mind a wayward spouse is in while they're acting out their affair. It typically manifests itself in their behaviors, words, and even appearances, which will become very uncharacteristic for them. Wow, that's a pretty big definition. It's what I've seen people attribute their spouse's negative behavior while they're in an affair. Let me see this again. Affair fog is a term many affair and marriage experts use to describe the state of mind a wayward spouse is in while they're acting out in their affair. It typically manifests itself in their behaviors, words, and even appearances, which all become very uncharacteristic for them. You're from Texas, Chris? Don't mess with Texas. Rob's definition is a good way to describe it. Well, this is what I tell people a lot of times when they're cheating in a marriage or they're cheating with someone that's in a marriage. Affairs happen all the time. It's very common. Whether you want to validate it or not validate. That's your prerogative. Every situation is different. The reality is, though, the longer it goes on, someone that's married, the spouse will find out because of the irregularities. Someone will go, oh, it's just intuition. There's intuition is based on filtering for information that doesn't line up. So when someone gets intuition, it's not just like it fell out of the sky. There's signs, there's clues that are contributing to that intuition. And so whether it's a fair fog or whatever, someone's going to sniff out like something's not right here. And then they start snooping around. This is when they check your phone. And I tell people, I'm like, they're going to find out. And then what? I mean, I had a woman that I was coaching for a while that she was the affair. And the guy she was with was in a marriage. And she had all her reasons. And the guy that was in a marriage was in a non-intimate relationship now. The list went on. She had a lot of reasons. She was a good lady, actually. And then I was like, his wife's going to find out. And I remember, like, it took like 8 or 9 months, and she called me up crying. She's like, the wife found out. I'm like, it's going to happen. Fair fog, in my opinion, is just a way of validate someone cheating instead of just accepting it and making a decision. Yeah, a lot of these affairs, what I would add, and you might think I'm defending the people, because I know you got a hard line on this, Skinner. They're not planned out. It's not like someone goes, okay, I'm going to look for an affair. It's usually someone from work or someone from your past. There's usually neglect in your relationship. And I just told G Money this, who I respect a lot. G Money made the comment, and he's right. He's like, you still got to date. You have to be exciting in your relationship. Like all these things that this is very surface stuff that you can see on many channels, right? And G Money was like, you got to continue to challenge. I forgot what the other statements were, but they all lined up. It was true. He was like, in order for the relationship to stay fresh. But here's the rub. Someone can still cheat on you or someone could still leave you. And G Money kind of answered back in the live stream. He was like, so there's no certainty. And I'm like, there is no certainty. So my point is, it's very easy to go later on and go, oh, I should have treated her differently, or I should have treated him differently, or I didn't do this right, or I didn't do that right. You could do everything right, and someone could still meet someone that they work with. Someone could still meet someone at the coffee shop that they're madly in love with. It can happen. It can absolutely happen. And the sanctity of being married has never been less than it is probably now in most Western culture countries. People will abort a marriage or something they don't like because they're not being treated well, or it's not fair, or they like someone else more than ever before. And so what my point is, you're going to have to deal with these kind of things. They're going to come up. There's still no certainty. Doing your best, being a good husband, being a good wife, being a good girlfriend or boyfriend, you can do that all right, and it can still go wrong. Now, what I would say, though, is if you are good in the relationship, and when people ask me this question, oh, are they going to come back? Do they come back? They generally will come back if you were a good partner. That's the rub. A lot of times people are, I need to know about your relationship, who you are, and what you did. Right? The thing that gets lost a lot of times is the fact that, were you a good partner? Was your relationship that good? That gets lost a lot, right? So you have to really consider that. When people tell me, oh my God, my ex called me back 6 months later. Oh my God, what have you, I'm usually not surprised, because these are people that are good catches. These are people that have a lot going for them, and they had a good relationship. So it's not surprising. It's not surprising to me. Chris Bouchon, right on, bro. Send it in to writemac.com if you want to get your story read, or if you want to do a live coaching session. It's just tough seeing people get down on themselves for a choice that was most likely out of their hands. I don't knock you for the viewpoint, especially considering you're in a position where it's best to be objective. Thanks, Skinner. I appreciate it. I value your opinion. I don't always have to like it. I don't always have to agree with it, but I value it. And most of the time I do agree with you. You're good people. All right, folks, I do have to go today. I did want to get an hour in or so. Does anyone have any closing questions? I don't think so. Because everyone's telling me they got to go. Sound of a plastic bag. Isn't that ugly? Okay. Rob saying, like, I like it better when you're on late. Well. Anyone else? Good evening, all. All right, folks, it is for you. For you, is a certain excuse good enough for you? Sam Ellis, thanks, bro. A certain excuse good enough for you? We'll have to come back to that. I would say that there's, hearing someone out on why or what they did, can change the circumstances of the results. So, yeah, I would say that a certain reason that might not always be considered an excuse can be surprisingly vindicating. I will be on tomorrow, absolutely, for sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on. I'll probably be more on at 10 a.m. again. But I'm playing with this time to see if it draws more people. It doesn't seem like it's different. We're going to get consistent at one point here, David. David, I wish you all the best, bro, on your test. Keep studying and keep telling yourself every night before you sleep and every morning, I got that test, I'm done. I passed it already. Put yourself in a place where you already are done. You're already at the finish line. I was surprised to see you on this early. Well, surprises are good, right? All right, folks, it's curtains.